What happens when Johnny Carson invites a guest once and never returns? Johnny Carson was known for being gracious to guests, but he also had zero tolerance for those who crossed the line. These are the 15 guests Johnny Carson never invited back. Uri Geller, the failed psychic. Carson's team kept all props under controlled conditions instead of Geller's, and the psychic couldn't perform his signature bending telepathy bits.
I'll try when I'll really feel up to it, okay? I really have to be in the mood to do things and have them happen. And many times, nothing really happens.
The failed demonstration became the reason Geller was never brought back. Johnny's team ensured no tricks could be pre-rigged. Geller sat there unable to produce any psychic phenomena.
So I'll just move my hands over them and we'll start eliminating the ones that do not have the water. That's the way I did it at SRI. That's the way I'll try to do it here.
Without touching them?
Without touching them, of course.
Well, I don't trust me.
He is really suspicious, you know. I'm having a hard time with you.
I don't mean to be, Uri. I really don't.
Just keep looking. Okay, let me rest a little, all right?
All right.
You know, I'm surprised because before this program, your producer came and he read me at least 40 questions you're going to ask me.
Well, I can ask you all kinds of questions if you'd like me to ask you questions.
I have to have time. And,
all right. Now, we'll cut away from a commercial, and I will verify, and everybody in the studio will verify that nobody will touch the objects. Okay? All right. We are back. Uri was telling me you don't feel what, strong tonight?
I don't feel strong. It's not all tonight. Right now I'm feeling being pressed, and then I can't.
Well, I'm not trying to press you. I'm really not.
No, you're only telling me, well, will you try that or that or that?
Well, I thought that was the idea of.
The awkward silence stretched uncomfortably long. Carson watched the failure with visible satisfaction. The exposure was deliberate and devastating. Geller's reputation took a massive hit that night. Johnny proved skepticism was warranted. The blacklist became permanent after that humiliation. Carson consulted with James Randi beforehand to design the test. The setup was scientifically rigorous, preventing any cheating. Geller tried making excuses about the energy being wrong. Johnny remained stone-faced throughout the failing attempts. The audience shifted uncomfortably, watching the disaster unfold. Carson's skeptical approach became legendary in debunking circles. Carl Sagan, the public corrector.
Not even the other colors represented on the Earth are present, much less greens and blues and purples and oranges.
They did have the scene of Star Wars with a lot of strange characters.
Yeah, but none of them seem to be in charge of the galaxy. Everybody in charge of the galaxy seemed to look like us. And
Sagan corrected Carson about Halley's Comet during a 1986 segment, getting placed on the no list. Johnny didn't like being corrected in front of the audience. Sagan had appeared many times before successfully. The Halley's Comet correction felt embarrassing to Johnny. Carson valued his authority as host. Public correction undermined that authority. Sagan meant no disrespect, but damage was done. Johnny told producers, no more Sagan bookings. The scientist lost access to millions of viewers. One correction ended years of appearances. The correction was factually accurate, making it worse. Carson's ego couldn't handle being wrong on air. Sagan's tone was gentle, but Johnny heard condescension. The 1986 appearance was Sagan's last with Carson hosting. Johnny's sensitivity about looking uninformed was extreme. The blacklist proved facts mattered less than ego. Orson Welles, the fake mentalist. Welles did a mental math stunt with planted helpers, and the bit went wrong. Carson was allegedly furious about the dishonesty more than the failure. The faux mentalism trick relied on audience plants. Johnny hated being deceived on his own show. The helpers were supposed to be random. Welles thought Carson wouldn't notice. The dishonesty was worse than any failed trick. Carson confronted the fakery immediately. Welles never got another invitation. Johnny's fury ensured permanent blacklist status. The planted helpers were obviously rehearsed. Carson spotted the deception mid-performance. Welles tried playing it off as entertainment. Johnny saw it as lying to his audience. The trust between host and guest evaporated instantly. Carson's anger about the fraud lasted forever. Jerry Lewis, the staffer screamer. Lewis screamed at Carson's cue card man over time constraints. Carson took staff disrespect seriously and refused to have Lewis back. The screaming happened backstage during commercial breaks. Lewis blamed the cue card man for his problems. Carson heard about the incident immediately. Johnny valued his staff above difficult guests. Lewis never apologized for the outburst. Carson made the blacklist decision that night. Staff mistreatment was an unforgivable sin. Lewis lost Tonight Show access permanently. The cue card man was just doing his job. Lewis's tantrum was loud enough for others to hear. Johnny's protective instinct toward staff was legendary. The Tonight Show crew loved Carson for backing them. Lewis's star power couldn't override staff loyalty. Carson proved nobody was above basic decency. William Shatner, The Rule Breaker. Shatner spoke too long, turned his back to talk to another guest, and mentioned ABC. That single appearance made Carson decide not to rebook him. The flat stretch bored the audience visibly. Shatner broke multiple unwritten rules in one night. Turning his back showed complete disrespect. Mentioning ABC violated Tonight Show etiquette. Carson's camp disliked everything about the appearance. Shatner seemed oblivious to the mistakes. Johnny made the blacklist decision immediately. That one night destroyed all future opportunities. The ABC mention was particularly galling to NBC executives. Shatner plugged his ABC show repeatedly during the interview. Carson's patience wore thinner with each violation. The turning away from Johnny was unprecedented rudeness. Shatner monopolized conversation, ignoring Carson's cues, and the combination of errors was simply unforgivable. Jay Leno, the weak comic. Carson thought Leno's early sets weren't strong enough, telling producers not to rebook him. Johnny just didn't like him at first before he later returned. Leno's material didn't land with Carson. The sets felt flat and unoriginal. Johnny had high standards for stand-up. Leno got temporarily blacklisted for weakness. Carson told producers to pass on future bookings. The ban wasn't permanent like others. Leno eventually returned with stronger material. Obviously, he later became Tonight Show host. The early material lacked the polish Leno developed later. Carson's notes were brutally honest about the weakness. Leno worked harder, improving his craft significantly. Johnny eventually recognized the improvement. The temporary ban actually helped Leno get better. Carson's tough love approach worked in this case. Ellen DeGeneres, the instruction ignorer. Carson told Ellen not to use a specific joke, but she did it anyway. The defiance soured Johnny on booking her again during his tenure. Ellen thought she knew better than the host. The joke landed, but cost her future appearances. Carson valued respect for his authority. Ellen's choice showed poor judgment. Johnny told producers she wasn't welcome back. The instruction had been crystal clear. Ellen learned the hard way about Carson's rules. The blacklist lasted through Johnny's entire run. The specific joke content was never publicly revealed. Ellen's defiance seemed like youthful arrogance to Carson. Johnny had given explicit instructions before the taping. The decision to ignore him was inexplicable. Carson saw it as fundamental disrespect. Ellen's career continued elsewhere, but The Tonight Show was closed. Dana Carvey, the SNL mocker. Carson didn't appreciate an SNL portrayal that made him look out of touch, ending Carvey on the unofficial no list, parody the host, and risk the booking. The SNL sketch crossed a line Johnny couldn't forgive. Carvey's impression hit too close to home. Carson felt the parody made him seem irrelevant. The blacklist proved Johnny controlled who got opportunities. Carvey never appeared on Carson-hosted episodes again. The politics of mocking the host became clear. Johnny's sensitivity about his image was real. The SNL parody cost Carvey Tonight Show access. The sketch portrayed Carson as old and dated. Carvey's accuracy made the mockery sting harder. Johnny watched SNL and saw himself being ridiculed. The parody suggested Carson's time had passed. Carvey's career thrived elsewhere despite the ban. Carson never publicly acknowledged the blacklist. Steve Allen, the former host rival. Allen mocked Carson and treated staff poorly, getting stopped from bookings. Carson didn't forget personal slights from anyone. Allen's former Tonight Show host status didn't protect him. The behavior crossed lines Johnny wouldn't tolerate. Carson held grudges against people who disrespected him. Allen's mockery felt like betrayal from a predecessor. The staff mistreatment sealed Allen's fate. Johnny valued loyalty above almost everything. Allen lost all future booking opportunities. The blacklist lasted Carson's entire tenure. Allen criticized Carson publicly in interviews. The mockery suggested Carson was inferior to Allen. Johnny saw Allen as jealous and petty. The staff complaints about Allen were numerous. Carson chose his team over a former host. Allen never understood why the door closed. Kevin Nealon, the wrong joke teller. Nealon's joke went wrong, and he never appeared again on Carson-hosted episodes. The material touched a nerve, including drunk driving-related humor, given Carson's past. One joke destroyed Nealon's Tonight Show future. The drunk driving reference was a textbook mistake. Carson's personal issues made certain topics completely off limits. Nealon learned the hard way about Johnny's boundaries. The joke backfired spectacularly, ending all future bookings. Carson showed zero tolerance for sensitive topics. Nealon never got a chance to apologize. The permanent ban taught others what to avoid. Carson's son died in a car accident, making the topic painful. The joke seemed innocent but hit a raw nerve. Nealon had no idea about Carson's personal tragedy. Johnny's face showed immediate hurt and anger. The comedy community learned about the forbidden topic. Nealon's career continued, but his spot on The Tonight Show was over. Howie Mandell, the clock waster. Carson personally banned Mandell because he didn't enjoy him, with one example being a big prop prop that ate up limited set time. Wasting time on Tonight could be a career-limiting move. Mandell rolled out the prop without considering the schedule. Carson valued efficiency above almost everything else. The big prop disrupted the show's rhythm completely. Johnny told producers he didn't want Mandell back. The ban became permanent over one appearance. Mandell's style clashed with Carson's preferences. Johnny simply didn't enjoy Mandell's comedy. The personal ban was direct and final. The prop took up precious minutes with minimal payoff. Carson's irritation was visible throughout the segment. Mandell's manic energy felt wrong for late night. Johnny preferred controlled, predictable comedy. The wasted time meant cutting other segments. Carson told friends Mandell was exhausting to watch. Rich Little, the too-close impressionist. Little believed he was sidelined because Carson didn't like a particular Carson impression getting too close. One night's mimicry cost him future bookings. The impression hit a nerve Johnny couldn't ignore. Little made the mistake of being too accurate. Carson didn't appreciate seeing himself mocked so precisely. The too-close impression felt like an invasion. Johnny controlled his own image fiercely. Little learned impressions of the host were dangerous. The blacklist proved Carson's power over careers. Little's talent became his downfall on Tonight Show. The impression captured Carson's mannerisms perfectly. Johnny saw himself through unflattering eyes. Little's accuracy made it feel like mockery. Carson believed the impression diminished him. The mimicry crossed from tribute to insult. Little's career suffered from losing Tonight Show access. Joan Rivers, the competing traitor. Rivers took a Fox late-night show and didn't personally tell Carson first, leading to a permanent rupture. She never returned to Carson's Tonight Show during his run. The betrayal cut deeper than any other blacklist. Johnny felt blindsided by someone he considered a friend. Rivers launching a competing show without warning was unforgivable. Carson took the lack of personal notification as a slap. The relationship ended immediately and permanently. Johnny refused all attempts at reconciliation. Rivers lost her mentor and biggest champion. The Fox show decision destroyed decades of friendship. Carson had made Rivers a frequent guest host, giving her national exposure. Johnny championed her career when few believed in female comics. The Tonight Show platform launched Rivers into stardom. Carson considered her part of his inner circle. Rivers knew the late-night rules, but broke them anyway. The Fox executives convinced her not to tell Johnny beforehand. Carson found out through industry channels, not from Rivers. The humiliation of learning it secondhand made everything worse. Johnny felt Rivers stabbed him in the back after everything he'd done. The industry watched the feud play out publicly. Rivers later admitted the decision haunted her for decades. Carson never softened even as time passed. Billy Preston, the too raucous performer. Preston's 1973 performance brought unusually loud standing ovation energy, and Carson decided that rock and roll intensity didn't fit the show's late-night mood. The claim is Carson never invited him back for a Carson-hosted episode, even if guest hosts later did. The standing ovation was too enthusiastic for Johnny's taste. Preston's performance shook the studio in unexpected ways. Carson preferred controlled energy that fit the format. The raucous response disrupted the show's usual rhythm. Johnny felt the rock and roll intensity was wrong for bedtime TV. Preston's style clashed with Carson's vision completely. The loud energy made Carson uncomfortable. Johnny valued a specific tone he wouldn't compromise. Preston's talent was never questioned, just the fit. The 1973 audience jumped to their feet during the performance. Carson watched the chaos unfold with visible concern. The standing ovation continued longer than typical Tonight Show reactions. Johnny believed late night required a specific calming vibe. Preston's rock energy was perfect for concerts, not bedtime television. Guest hosts who replaced Carson occasionally booked Preston successfully. The irony was Preston's success caused his banishment. Carson's conservative approach to late-night entertainment was inflexible. The blacklist showed Johnny prioritized mood over talent. Preston became an example of wrong place, wrong time. The too raucous label stuck despite Preston's incredible musicianship. Lola Falana, the Newton associate. Falana's manager said they were told she was no longer welcome when Carson hosted, not for her behavior, but because she was close with Wayne Newton while Carson was feuding with him. Guilt by association with someone Carson didn't want in his orbit ended her bookings. The Newton feud destroyed Falana's Tonight Show access. Johnny blacklisted anyone connected to his enemies. Falana did nothing wrong personally. The association with Newton was enough. Carson's feuds extended to entire social circles. Falana became collateral damage in a bigger fight. The manager confirmed the ban came from the Newton connection. Johnny controlled who appeared based on personal feelings. The Wayne Newton feud was one of Carson's most intense. Newton and Carson clashed over multiple issues spanning years. Johnny's grudge against Newton never softened. Falana's friendship with Newton sealed her fate. The blacklist extended to Newton's entire social orbit. Falana lost access to television's biggest platform over someone else's fight. The unfairness of the situation was obvious, but Carson didn't care. Falana never publicly criticized Carson for the ban. The collateral damage approach showed Carson's ruthless side. Johnny's power meant Falana had zero recourse. The Tonight Show door remained permanently closed to Falana. Carson's associate blacklists affected numerous careers. These blacklists showed that Johnny Carson was respectful to those who played by his rules, but absolutely ruthless to those who crossed him even once. Carson's power over late-night television meant getting banned from Tonight Show could seriously damage a celebrity's career. The blacklists showed that Johnny valued loyalty, respect, and following his unwritten rules above all else. Some of these bans lasted decades, proving Carson never forgot and rarely forgave. The era of one host controlling access to millions of viewers gave Johnny unprecedented power in entertainment. Which guest do you think deserved a second chance? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more Tonight Show secrets.